This is the Penguin Tactile Switches by Kinetic Labs. They are claiming that this tactile switch has the ergo bump. So how do they sound and feel? Let's find out. Hey guys, Ox here and welcome back to my channel. We are back with another 4K Switch review and sound test. Today we'll be taking a look and listen at the Penguin Switches by Kinetic Labs. As mentioned, these are a tactile switch that has an ergo tactility, which I have never tried, and they also came in pre-factory lube. I'm really excited to try them out as I really wanted to see how the tactility feels on the switches, and the switches were sent for a review, but I wasn't paid to make the video, so of course I'll give you guys my honest and unbiased opinion on the Penguin switches. So in today's video, it's going to be the usual stock versus lube comparison, a sound test comparison between the other tactile switches, and of course a material breakdown. If you want to hear my own thoughts and opinion on the Penguin switches, please do stick around at the end of the sound test. And speaking of sound test, let me give you guys a quick disclaimer before we listen. That the sound and experience may vary depending on your keyboard build, meaning to say that it might feel and sound different on your board. We are using the Vega 65 with a polycarbonate plate, a PCB to plate foam, and one case foam. The switches came in pre-factory lube, and the keycaps that we are using for the sound test is a dummy key set. So with all of that out of the way, please do enjoy the sound test for the Penguin switches. So that was the sound test for the Penguin switches. Please do let me know on what you think about them on the comment section down below. I would love to have a discussion with you guys, so feel free to comment what you like. And before we talk about my own thoughts and opinion about the switches, you already know the drill. Let's break down the materials that was used on the switch. As you can see, this is a 5-pin switch and is using an MX style housing. So we have an interesting top and bottom housing material, as they are using a polycarbonate plus wipe mixing for the housings. Of course, we have palm 4D stems. And lastly, the springs, which has a 63.5 grams. So that was a material breakdown on the Penguin switches, and if you made it up to this point, I would like to say thank you for staying, and don't forget to hit the like button. Again, remember my disclaimer that the sound and experience may vary depending on your keyboard build, so let's now talk about my thoughts and opinion about the Switch. Finally, let's all talk about my thoughts on the feel. The Penguin switches on stock, it's really not that great. It has the usual stock issues like the lisping, the crunch, and the plastic feeling when typing on. The only thing that's good on stock is that there are no noticeable scratchiness on the switches. Like a typical JWK fashion, of course, lubing them makes it feel better. I lubed mine with the Tribosys 3203 with light applications on the bottom housing and avoiding the stem legs. I always lube my tactile switches lightly and focusing on the springs and on the rails. Once lubed, the plastic feeling when typing was gone, and typing on them feels so much better. Now for the tactility, it has a very light rounded bump that you can feel early on. Kinetic Labs claim that this has the ergo bump, which I haven't really tried so I can't comment on that, but I did ask my friends to describe the ergo clears, and they did mention that it's like the MX Browns but has a bigger rounded bump. So if you are a fan of light tactiles, this is definitely for you. And honestly, the light tactile feel on this is quite nice. I love the early rounded bump, but not to the point that it almost feels like a linear switch, if you get what I mean. Now moving on to my thoughts on the sound. I really don't like the sound on tactiles on stock as it sounds all over the place for me. Of course, as mentioned, I only lube them lightly, and once lubed, the tactile sound feels more subtle and more full. It's more on that deeper sound profile that has a small subtle pop, which I'm kinda getting used to. As you know, I like more high-pitched switches, but this tactile doesn't sound bad at all, and it doesn't sound harsh for a tactile switch. The 63.5 gram long springs is spot on. I didn't notice any fatigue or heaviness when typing on them in the long run. It really complements the light tactility, and for the white top housing, I didn't really feel any difference from the normal polycarbonate top housing, but I can feel that it's more tighter and it doesn't really need filming. So overall, it's a unique tactile switch to pick up if you want to try something new, and I don't think there's going to be a learning curve when you are coming from a linear switch, since it has a light tactile feel, or if you are used to heavier tactile feels. Again, this will boil down to your preference in terms of tactility. So yeah, that is it for the video guys. I hope you all enjoyed the review, and I hope that somehow you find this helpful, and if you do, of course, don't forget to like the video, and let's aim for the usual, the 50 likes. I know we can do it. Thank you again Kinetic Labs for sending them over. All of the links would be in the description down below. So what's next? Well, we have more Kinetic Labs switches coming in and more KTT switch reviews, so watch out for that, and please, again, don't forget to like the video, share if you want, and of course, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys on the next Soundtest. Peace.